Hello everybody, welcome to today's video, where today I am going to be explaining how the player movement, collisions, and the player hitbox all works, which is the tutorial we did for episode 2 of our tutorial series. So without further ado, let's begin. First off with our red, green, flag, click starting code. We have our set scroll X and scroll Y to 0, because this is your starting position on the map. If I show you here, if I set the scroll X and the scroll Y to 100, then my player is going to teleport, as you can see. He is now teleported to this specific location. And so the scroll X and scroll Y acts as a way of coordinates in the game. Moving on to our move this player, we have our move block right here. And it goes to the X and Y position, which is always 0, because the way the system works is the player is never actually moving. It is the background and the collisions and everything else that is moving. So, we are going to go to the X and Y coordinates, and if it is not touching the player hitbox, which is this sprite, then it's going to change the scroll X and scroll Y. Now the reason we don't say collisions is because since the size of the different costumes changes, if you turn in a specific direction or press a specific key at the wrong time, then you can get stuck in something with no way out, which is why we have the player hitbox. Moving on to the player hitbox, it's basically duplicated everything, but now we change it so that if it is touching the collisions, and since the player hitbox remains the same size throughout, it all works out fine. Moving on to the level, it is always going to remain at a certain position. It's going to the back layer, because we don't want the player to be under the level. That doesn't make any sense. It shows and it sets its size to 150%. If I were to say 300% right here, it won't actually work. If you look at the size right here, boom, didn't do anything. And that is simply because the level is too big. It's 480 by 360, and something of that size cannot be changed to that size, which is why, quick little hack, if you haven't seen this already, you probably have though, you can set the size to something smaller, so set size to small, then set that small thing to 300%, and since it's smaller, that actually works, and then you can switch it to the costume, and now if I do this, it's at 300%. So if you do want to make a larger, more magnified level, then that is how you can do it. So, I'm going to fix this up quickly. Boom. Now, let's continue with our collisions. This is actually the last thing now. We are speeding right through everything. My. So this goes to the front layer and then goes backwards 2 layers so that nothing is behind the collisions. Then it's going to show set size to 300%, which actually works since this is smaller. Because the costume is smaller, everything works out in the end. Switches its costume, and then it goes to this position, which actually keeps it in place so that when you move around, it does actually move around with you and keeps it in the right position on the screen that it should be. So that's basically how all of the collisions work and the player movement. Like I said, very interesting thing is that the player is not actually moving, and it's the level and the other things that are moving behind it, which is honestly extremely cool. I really like it. And I forgot to mention this in my other videos, but the method for the scrolling was created by Samuel2. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but link to his video and channel is going to be in the description. Great dude. He really came up with a simple design for the scrolling. So, if anything, you guys check him out. I hope you all enjoyed today's video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.